There has been so much talk of late about the importance of exercise, the importance of better nutrition, the importance of positive thinking. All of these things we are going to learn together. I like to consider myself as your personal physical instructor and your health consultant, coming into your home every day. What a team we're gonna make, huh? You watch and see. Excited about it? Smile. Give me a big smile.
And welcome to another segment of the Suburban Gym. And I'm your host, Bill Grant. Tonight we have an interesting topic. You know, a lot of people as of late have been talking about personal training. As a matter of fact, you have a lot of people who have personal trainers. I can remember some time ago on the West Coast when I lived there, personal training really wasn't that big. But now, in the 90s, personal training is the thing. So today, our topic is we're going to talk about personal training. How do you find a personal trainer? And what personal training is all about. And my guest tonight, Brendan Haynes, who's the owner of Fitness Unlimited, will be here to give us a little background information on personal training. Welcome to the show, Brendan.
Thank you, Bill.
Brendan, personal training, what is it?
Well, personal training is the art and science of helping someone achieve some overall wellness. What personal training is someone would come to you and they would ask you questions on how can I achieve certain goals, wellness goals, fitness goals. I'll give you a scenario of if you wanted some legal advice, you would go to a lawyer. You wouldn't go into litigation on your own. Okay, unless you're Colin Ferguson, of course, right?
That's true.
If you wanted your teeth cleaned, you'd go to a dentist.
Right.
They're professionals, and that's what we are. We're fitness professionals. Okay, we're going to guide you through movements. We're going to give you the proper form, proper sequence, proper range of motion to reach your wellness goals, whatever they may be.
Why do people take up personal training? What's the reason that they're doing it?
There are a lot of different reasons for personal training. It may be a post-rehab type of injury. So someone has surgery, they have a car accident, back problems. They go to their physical therapist and their orthopedic surgeon, for instance. After their rehab, people don't continue with exercise. And what we do is we take someone after rehab and then continue their program. So there isn't any muscle atrophy. People can continue in longevity, things like that. Other reasons people get involved is overall strength training, people losing weight, people wanting to gain weight. So there are a lot of different reasons that people do get involved.
So people today are, you would say, are much more health conscious than they were maybe 20 years ago when I started bodybuilding in the early 60s and late 50s.
Right.
There was nobody doing any personal training. As a matter of fact, the particular thing that we're doing now was looked upon as not being so great, but today it's looked upon in another light. We're talking about personal training. What qualifications do personal trainers need? You hire personal trainers in your fitness center. What do you ask from them?
Well, in our center in Morristown, what we do is we have a number of trainers that work for us, myself and my partner. Qualifications that we look for in someone there are four basic qualifications that we look for. One is a four-year degree in the field, say exercise physiology, exercise science, something related in that respect. We look for someone who has a national certification, be it American College of Sports Medicine, ACE, something like that. We also look for someone who has some liability insurance if they want to come in and train, and also a pleasing personality. Someone has to be able to build a rapport with the client, work with them day in and day out.
How many different, you mentioned a couple of qualifications, how many different types of qualifications are there, and how do you achieve those qualifications? How does one get one of those
Well, in order to achieve a four-year degree, you have to go to a college to get a four-year degree. Our clients are becoming more educated now that they know what a personal trainer should have. Mm-hmm. In your case, you have so much experience, in training that you know how to train, okay? And people these days, they don't have that much training. If you had a 20-year-old person that wanted to start personal training, they can't compare to the knowledge that you have, so they have to go get that degree. Okay, they need the physiology, the anatomy background, the health background, the biology. They need all that in order to get started in the field. People are becoming much more educated in the field.
How many recognized certifications would you say are out there today that are really good?
Really good, there's about half a dozen that are really good. The one that I would recommend, there are two actually.
ACE, I know, is
ACE is
the
big.
number one, I understand.
Right. American College of Sports Medicine is also very good, and that's more the medically based type of certification.
That's ACSM. I have an AFA certification myself.
Right.
They go all around the country and have different, schools and training. They last about 3 days. You have to look in your area to find out when these particular classes are coming up.
Sure. Well, as you know, it's very time consuming, and there's a lot of information that you need to know. A lot of people think, well, I'll become a personal trainer because I know how to say I know a bench press is going to build my chest.
Right.
But physiologically, what is happening in the body and which way the muscle's fibers running? Is it an isolation movement? Is it a compound movement? What's my primary and secondary movers? So there's a lot more that's involved in this doing, say, a bench press, for instance, to build the chest.
That's pretty tough because I remember when I went for my qualification, it took like 3 days to do it. And I don't mean 3 hours each day. This was like 8 to 10 hours each day. And then you had a final examination at the end of the course, and it was pretty tough. So I would have to say experience really, in my opinion, is really, really important.
It sure
but
is.
what type of people get involved in personal training?
Well, we have a wide range of clientele, and it's not your stereotypical client anymore. People used to think, and I think they still do, that it's only the super wealthy and the famous celebrities that have personal trainers now, and that's not the case.
That's the way it used to be years ago.
It used to be, right, and that's not the case anymore. People are interested in their longevity and attaining goals much faster with a personal trainer. We have waitresses, and we have millionaires. We have people that have been sedentary their whole life. They're 40 years old. They want to start to exercise. We have athletes. So there's a whole realm of people that are involved in personal training.
The 40-year-old, when you talk to them, that's becoming a very, very big issue in this country today. Most people always talk about, well, I'm over 40 or I'm over 35, and I haven't trained at all. Is it going to work for me? Can I use a personal trainer? Is even an exercise program going to work for me? How do you respond to that question from them?
Well, it depends on the person and their genetic profile. If they've never exercised in their life, what we do is we tell them that we're going to start very basic. Okay, we're going to start with very basic exercises to let your body acclimate to these exercises. We do a full fitness evaluation and medical questionnaire before you were to get started. So we know where your baseline is. We're going to check your blood pressure. We're going to do body fats. We're going to do the whole realm there, the whole 9 yards, to see where your basis is. Based on that, your genetic profile and your goals, we're going to go from there. Okay.
Do you train athletes? I mean, other than just the average person, do you train athletes such as football players or baseball players or tennis players?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we have some competitive athletes that need to break off a plateau. They're at a certain level and they want to go higher. So we do a lot of specific training for these people.
Sport-specific training.
Correct.
Say I came into your studio. We'll give it a little scenario here. Say I walked in Fitness Unlimited. Now, remembering, I've never worked out before, Brendan, and I'm walking in and I walk in the studio and I see you. You introduce yourself to me. I'm Brendan Haynes. Hi, Brendan. I'm Bill Grant. As you can see, I really haven't worked out, at all before, and I'm very weak. I need to build up some strength and build a little muscle. How would I get started? How would you start me on a program? What would you do for me?
Well, what we do is we go through an initial consultation. I would ask you what your goals are, what you've been doing in the past, any dietary guidelines that you've been following, if you have a lot of stress at work, things like that. It would be an initial consultation. After that, we would schedule a medical questionnaire and a fitness evaluation, which I briefly touched on. Is we would look for any hypertension in the family, if you've ever had any broken bones that would limit, say, range of motion. We would look for any medications that you're on now. And then after that, we would go through a fitness evaluation, where we would do the blood pressures, the body fats, cardiovascular endurance, the whole gamut there. And then based on those three things, we would prescribe a certain program for you. And that would incorporate cardiovascular training, strength training, and abdominal, lower back, and flexibility.
Suppose now, let's give it like a little special case. Suppose I came to you and I happen to have high blood pressure. How do you handle a situation? Do you have a lot of people like that in your center
Yes,
like
we
that?
do.
Say I have high blood pressure,
Okay.
just me specifically. Now, what would you do?
Well, it would depend on the severity of the hypertension and if you're on any medications. We would contact your physician first of all, okay, to see what the underlying problem is. And then from there, we would do a program, again, based on all your evaluation, your hypertension, your age, all those combined, we would put you on a specific program. Things with hypertension is a very common problem.
Right.
You have to be careful of your breathing. You never want to hold your breath, which would cause a Valsalva maneuver, okay, which is internal pressure. Okay, you have to be careful of your breathing. You don't want to use a lot of heavy weights. Dietary consumption is very important as well. You want to do a lot of cardiovascular training, and it's hard to group it into one because everyone is specific, and that's what personal training is about. You know, hypertension is just one thing that would be a cause or be a problem. We'd have to look at that person entirely.
All right. Speaking of that, one cause. Suppose, let's give you another scenario so the people out there can recognize all these things that you do and you recognize and how you can help them. Suppose somebody was sent from a rehab clinic and they were sent to you and now you needed to help finish their rehabilitation. Do you have a program that you might give someone who's on a rehabilitation program to help them? Say, for example, they had damage to their knee from skiing and now they really need to get themselves back into shape.
Yeah.
How would you work with them?
Well, again, we would contact their physician, their orthopedist, their physical therapist, who'd see where they are now, any past history of injuries, if there's any imbalance in one side or the other. Then based on that, we would prescribe a certain program to strengthen that certain area. If it's a knee problem, you have to strengthen the muscles that surround that entire knee. So you'd work the quadriceps, the hamstrings, and the calf, okay, which all surround and help strengthen that knee joint. But you have to work the entire body. If you were just to do rehab on that one knee, which a lot of physical therapy is involved with, because that's what they want to do. They want to strengthen that knee back up. You have to concern yourself about the other side, your upper body, your lower back, your heart, the most important muscle in your body, etc.
Just by training that one specific muscle, you might, what we could say, have a muscle imbalance if you just made total concentration on that one body part. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Suppose you came in and I needed a diet. I mean, I was very obese. Do you express how important a diet is to an individual when they come in?
Oh, sure. We have quite extensive computer library of nutritional analysis. So what we do is we see what the person is consuming for a week, and then we take that and we do an analysis on it to see exactly what they're eating, when they're eating it, the fat, calories, the carbohydrates, the proteins, the whole gamut there. And then based on what they are eating, we give them guidelines of what they should be eating. A lot of people want to gain weight, a lot of people want to lose weight, a lot of people want to maintain and increase, other parts, just longevity, overall health. So we give them very good basic eating guidelines.
Okay, I'm sure we could probably sit here the rest of the day and talk about everything, but we've run out of time now. But I want to thank you for coming on the show, Brendan, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show again. We'll be right back with more of the Suburban Gym and another guest after this.
Ten.
Welcome to another segment of the Suburban Gym, and we're here talking to Sherry Baldassari. She's a fitness competitor, and you know, of late, we've seen a lot of fitness competitions. We've seen them on television. Matter of fact, Arnold Schwarzenegger has really made the fitness pageants a really big thing now. So they're holding fitness pageants all over the country, and this year in April, they're going to be holding the fitness pageant, New Jersey fitness pageant, and Sherry is going to be a competitor in that pageant. So I want to welcome Sherry Baldassari. Did I pronounce that last name right?
Yes.
On the show. It's a pleasure having you here, Sherry.
Thanks.
First of all, how did you get started as a fitness competitor?
I was always working out on my own, and one day Carmela Curitin, a professional, she just turned professional bodybuilder, came up to me and asked me if I had ever thought about competing in a fitness competition. And I knew about them, but I didn't know enough about weight training and technique to do it on my own. So I've started training with Carmela, and I'll be in my first show on April 29th.
Which show is that you're going to be in?
John Kemper is sponsoring it, and it's going to be with the NPC New Jersey State Bodybuilding Championship.
And what's the name of the pageant going to be called?
It's going to be the NPC Women's Fitness Contest.
Oh, okay. How long have you actually been preparing for this competition, and how long have you actually been into an exercise program?
I've been into an exercise program since high school. I was involved in sports and things, but strict weight training is now with Carmela. The last 2 weeks I started. I have about 10 weeks to prepare, and it's quite intensive. I'm doing weight training with Carmela. On my own, I'm doing a lot of cardio cross training, which is treadmill, Stairmaster, bike.
All right, now tell the audience, there's a difference between the bodybuilding competition and the fitness pageants. What's the difference between these two? I mean, what's the criteria for what you're doing? In other words, what does it take to be a winner in a fitness pageant?
Well, the difference is, as a woman, some women don't want the muscular gains that female bodybuilders have. So you're very fit and you work out a lot, but you also do a lot more aerobics to keep yourself more on a lean standpoint. And when you're in the fitness competition, what they do is they're judged in different categories. You have a swimsuit competition where you come out and they judge your poise, your firmness, your symmetry, your proportion of your body. Then there's another round where you do an aerobic dance routine, and you can incorporate flexibility, gymnastic moves, strength moves in the routine. And sometimes there's an evening gown competition, and then you have your final again in the swimsuit where they choose the winner based upon each category, the total points.
What's the choreography like in a fitness pageant? Is it the same type of choreography? Do you have like a posing routine like they do the bodybuilding, or do you come across a little bit different? What's it like?
You come out with a lot of energy, usually with a music of your choice, and you dance. You show how flexible you are, yet your strength. For instance, you can do a handstand and do push-ups in your handstand, then come down into a split, then bounce up and do a couple leg kicks, jump up and do a split in the air. So you're showing that you have strength, yet you're flexible and you're toned.
Are there any special qualifications for competing in these fitness pageants? Do you have to qualify on up the ladder? Was there a qualification competition before you could enter this one, or how does that work?
No, this one there's not. There will probably be a lot of amateurs in this competition, a lot of girls. It's their first time, and there are also going, I think it's a national qualifier, so there are also going to be girls that have competed before.
Right. When you train and you get in shape for this, there has to be a specific diet that you're on. What type of diet are you following? Is it a grueling diet, such as the bodybuilding diet, or is it the diet a little bit different? Are you allowed to have a little bit more fat in your diet than us bodybuilders? Because I know as a bodybuilder, our fat level when we consume food has to be almost nothing. But I don't know about the fitness pageants because they're not looking for the same defined type of look like they are with the bodybuilders.
Right. It is similar to a bodybuilding diet. Very low fat, if any at all. A lot of protein, complex carbohydrates, water, and chamomile tea to drink, and it is a very strict diet. And that is very important also for fitness pageants. In order to get you do want some definition, so in order to achieve that, you can't have a lot of sodium and be bloated.
Right. Give my audience a little sample of what you might eat during the day on this particular diet, so they can kind of have an overview of what's going on.
You eat about 5 times a day. In the morning, say I'll have oatmeal, plain without milk. In the afternoon, after
That's it in the morning? Just a bowl of oatmeal?
Yeah, oatmeal.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a banana in it if you want a banana
Okay.
in it with a little equal, something like that. Then I'll train. Then after my training, I'll have a metric shake with a banana or a piece of fruit in it. Then later on in the afternoon, I'll have about 2 hours later, about a half a cup or a cup of pasta plain with some tuna, plain. And then for dinners, some plain, delicious chicken breast, some carrots, plain, everything plain. Broccoli.
You're real excited about this diet, huh?
Baked potato. Well, actually, it is a very healthy way of eating.
Yeah.
And people who maybe didn't want to go so drastic because they're not on competition could eat similar, but put some spices and things. It really is a healthy diet, so. And it gives you energy. It does give you enough energy. That's why you break the meals up throughout the day and eat smaller portions more frequently.
This is like a two-part question I'm going to ask you. First
Okay.
of all, how many calories do you think you take in a day, and how many days a week do you actually work out?
I probably eat about 1,800 calories a day. And closer to competition, I'll probably go down a little bit to about 1,200. And I weight train 5 days a week with Carmela, and I do cardio at least five days a
Okay.
week also. Total of about hour and a half, 2 hours.
Training 5 days a week, let the audience know, do you split the body parts up? In other words, do you do your chest and back one day and your legs another day? What does that workout consist of?
Yeah, I train 2 days on, weightlifting, 1 day off. So that's my schedule. And say, for instance, Monday I'll do chest and biceps. The next day I'll do back and calves. Then I'll be off for a day. And then the next day I'll do my shoulders and triceps. And then the last day is the grueling leg workout.
Okay, I think we only have time for maybe one more question with this segment, because then we're going to move over to the Suburban Gym, where you're going to give a demonstration of some of the exercises that you do preparing for this competition. Where do you want to take this whole fitness pageant competition? I mean, how far do you want to go with it?
I'd like to keep doing competitions. Hopefully I can win. And I'd like to also get a little bit into the fitness modeling industry and just keep working on my body and making it better and better, because the more you do it, the better it looks. And it's just, I feel invigorated, and it gives me a goal towards my training. I'm not just in the gym riding a bike or pumping weights. I'm in there and I have a focus now, a real focus for my training. So it makes it more enjoyable to me.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit more, but we've got to take a break right now. We're going to take a break right now, but we'll be back with more of Sherry and the Suburban Gym right after this. Welcome back to the Suburban Gym, and I'm your host, Bill Grant. I'm sitting here, or standing here, chatting with Sherry, who's a fitness competitor and preparing for the New Jersey Fitness Pageant competition coming up in April. Sherry, there's a few other questions I want to get into before we, start the exercise program. Where do you kind of get all the time for the training? I realize it takes a lot of time to train. How does all that work? I mean, it's very time-consuming.
It is, but I'm self-employed, so I'm lucky I can rearrange my schedule and work out during the day and continue my work later on. I can split up the day.
Very good. There's other pageants. Which pageant would you really say? I know there's a number of them. There's the Galaxy that's held in Florida.
Right.
There's the Arnold Schwarzenegger fitness pageant. Are those the ones you're aspiring to be on the top of? I mean, do you have a goal? In other words, I look at that as maybe being the ultimate in fitness pageants, such as the Miss Olympia.
Right. Eventually, I'd like to be in the Arnold Classic. which is one of the most famous fitness pageants. But that's a long time away. That's a lot of work. These are women who've been in many competitions and really have a lot of experience, so I'm not really ready yet. But
Before we start, one more. Is there any type of qualification to compete in the pageant, such as the Arnold Classic?
I think you do have to have some experience in fitness pageants prior to being in the major fitness.
So you're
arenas.
working towards that now.
Yes.
You're getting yourself started. Okay, let's show the audience some of the exercises that you do while you prepare for this competition. So out there at home, I'll kind of explain what Sherry's doing, and these are some of the exercises she performs in the gym to get herself in the shape she's in for this fitness pageant coming up. Okay, Sherry, this is called the leg extension. This exercise is working, as you can see, all the muscles in the thigh, the quadricep, the outer head, and you can see them as they're flexing. How many sets would you do with this, Sherry, when you're actually working out? About 3 sets?
Carmela, probably 5 sets.
Of how many repetitions?
12 to 15.
12 to 15. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next exercise, Sherry. This is called the bench press. This exercise works the chest, shoulders, and triceps. Sherry's going to demonstrate how it's done. Okay. Bring it up. How many repetitions do you perform on this one?
Also, anywhere from 10 to 15.
How many sets?
Oh, sets, 3 to 5.
3 to 5 sets. This works, again, all the muscles in the chest, the shoulders, and the triceps. It tones them up real good. A lot of women are always complaining about that little turkey neck under the back of their arm. Well, this exercise can kind of solve that problem for you. Okay. All right, Sherry, let's move along here. We're going to go to some exercises for the back. We'll come over and do what we call the lat pull down. This exercise works all the muscles in the... I'll move her hair out of the way. This exercise works the muscles in the back of the shoulders, and the biceps. Can you kind of see that? How many sets do you do of this in the gym, Sherry?
Also, 3 to 5.
3 to 5 sets. How many repetitions?
10 to 15.
10 to 15?
Yeah.
How many are we going to do right now? About 15? Come on, let them see you do 15.
Okay.
I'm sure they want to see that back work. Am I right? Of course you do. See, look at the way those muscles are working. The trapezius muscles, the rhomboids, the rear deltoids, all those muscles are incorporated when you're doing this exercise.
And you know, working with Carmela, that's what really taught me proper form. She really taught me to squeeze my back together as if there were a finger between my shoulder blades, little tricks like that to help you isolate the muscle.
So Carmela was taught very well because I learned the same system. Okay, let's go over here and we'll do a little arm work.
Okay.
Okay, we only have a couple of seconds, so let's give a little demonstration of how the arms are being worked.
Okay.
This is an exercise for the biceps. This is called alternate dumbbell curls. You see those biceps working? This gives you a nice, firm, full bicep when you're working out. Okay, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, Sherry, and we've kind of run out of time. And we have to wrap it up. I want to wish you good luck in the upcoming competition. And the way you look right now, I think you're going to do just fine. I want to thank my viewers for watching the show tonight. So tune in next time for another Suburban Gym. Okay, Sherry, let's...